Big guy here. Today, I'm going to talk about anything in life worth having requires some sacrifice. It requires effort on your part. And I kind of see this today, this type of mentality, especially with the younger generation. They're too scared to really, I don't want to say think for themselves, but it's like if there's not a 100% defined path, whereas if they do this and they get this result, if they don't have that defined out for them, they tend to not want to do it. And unfortunately, that's not how life works. I mean, it must be nice, but if you want something good in life, you have to put forth the effort, and there's no guarantee you'll get it. But what I will tell you is that if you put forth the effort to make yourself a better person, you might not reach the goal you wanted to, but I promise you, you'll be better than you started out. You will make progress. It may come faster than you think. It may not come as fast as you want it to, but if you put forth the effort into making yourself a better person, you will be a better person. It's kind of hard to measure how much better you'll be. There's no guarantee that, let's say if you dieted perfectly and worked out 5 days a week, there's no guarantee you'll lose all the weight you want to. There's no guarantee you have six-pack abs. There's no promise that in 1 year's time you will look the way you want to. But I promise you that in that 1 year's time you'll look way better than you did. Same with women, right? You can study all the material you want. You can study what women find attractive. You can dress up to what you think a woman wants in a man. You can act a certain way. And, you can put forth all this effort to it, and you can go out and talk to a chick, and you can get blown out the water. She can shoot you down. And it can do that way for the next 10 chicks. But eventually, if you keep trying, you'll find one. Same with careers, right? Same with jobs. I mean, you got to put forth the effort into yourself. And unfortunately, there's no guarantee that what you're doing is going to pay out the way you want it to. But as long as you're putting forth the effort, results will come. You will be better for it. And maybe that's, the universe's way of, I'm not sure how I'm trying to say it. It won't give you something. You have to actually work for it. You have to earn it. Even in religion, one of my favorite verses is Matthew 7:7. God will give you everything, I ain't saying he'll give you everything you desire, but he will give good things to you. But first, you have to ask for it. You have to knock on the door. You have to seek it. You can't just, assume he's going to give it to you. No effort on your part. You got to go out and do things. So if you want a good life, you can't just sit there and wait on somebody to hand you a good life. You have to go out and get a good life. Another little favorite things it requires sacrifice on your part, and it could be simple sacrifice, things you wouldn't even consider sacrifice, right? Oh man, one of the things that come to mind is a friend of mine. I'm like, hey dude, what'd you do last Saturday night? He's like, nothing. Why'd you do nothing? I couldn't find anybody to go out with. So you're basically, when someone tells me that, what I hear is either A, I'm too scared to do something on my own, or B, somebody has to do something for me. So because I couldn't find anybody to go out with, it's either, A, I'm too scared to go on my own, which is valid because it's scary to go out by yourself, but you kind of have to get over it, because if you want to find new people, find new friends, find a new life, find a better life, you have to, be willing to embrace change, be willing to embrace fear, be willing to embrace, the humility that comes with going out by yourself. And I promise you, it's not as scary as you think it is. Or secondly, you're waiting on somebody else to define a path for you to follow it, so you think you can get the same results. You can have two people do the same workout routine, the same diet, and they can still get completely different results. Life is a little funny like that. So you can't really rely on somebody else. You can't rely on other people. You have to put forth the effort yourself. Even if you don't know that there's a guaranteed outcome, that your desired outcome is guaranteed, you have to put forth the effort. And I promise you that if you do, within that, time span, I can't say you'll attain the goals you want, but you'll get closer to it. You'll be better for doing it. You'll be better than you are now. But if you do nothing, you get nothing. The definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So, if you want your life to be better, you have to do something different, man. You can't just sit there and, do the same thing and expect it to magically be better. And I don't know. It just kind of dawned on me, like, the universe requires you to put a little bit of blood in on your part, a little bit of, sweat on your part, a little bit of effort on your part before it will grant you the things you want. Maybe it's got to see if you're worthy or not. That's a little different. That's for philosophy over a good cigar and a good drink, right? But the fact remains: stop waiting on other people. Stop, thinking that if you don't know the outcome, it's not worth trying. You have to do something different. You have to actually do something. You can't sit around and do nothing. You can't sit around and watch TV and wish for a better life. You can't sit around and play games, wish for a better life. You can't, sit at home by yourself on dating apps and wish for women to magically appear in your living room. It doesn't work that way. You have to go out into the real world, and you have to put forth some effort into getting what you want. And if you do that, you might not get exactly what you thought you would, but you will get results. Your life will be better for it, I promise you. So don't just sit around, scared of the unknown, scared that because you don't have a path clearly defined for you, that you know exactly what you're going to get. And I guess I kind of understand it. Maybe it dates back to our high school days, our education, Because think about it. Back in the 70s and 80s, the people I grew up, they were growing up that generation, right? All they really had to do was go to school, graduate, and boom, they had a good job. A job they could, live off of. They had better social environments because, there wasn't TV or video games that occupied people like they do now. So they had it, I ain't going to say they had it easier, but as far as, having a good life, it was kind of given to them. So then, here I am, I'm growing up in the younger generation, 90s, 2000s, that type of stuff, and this older generation is teaching us, if you just go to school and magically get a degree, everything will be great and wonderful, right? No. So, especially with younger people, it still has this mentality of, if this path is not clearly defined, they're not going to try it. They're scared to try it. And, I get it. It's kind of like, if I don't get X result, why try Y? Because be a waste of my time, right? Unfortunately, life's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So, if you want to attain X, sure, Y may get you there, sure, Z may get you there, but nothing will get you there if you don't try. It's not going to magically fall in your lap. So, you got to keep pushing forward. You got to be willing to do some, I don't want to say dumb things, but you got to be willing to try things that might put yourself in uncomfortable positions. Go out by yourself. Take a vacation by yourself. Go travel by yourself. Explore a new city. Nothing gets you out of your comfort zone faster or make you a little bit more social than going somewhere by yourself. Take an interest in something. One of the first things I did, I took a motorcycle trip down to Navarre in Florida. And it's close to Pensacola, and then right beside Pensacola is Fort Pickens, right? So here I am, cruising on the beach, and out of nowhere, boom, there's this big giant cannon just pointing towards the Gulf. And I'm like, what the Hades? Why is there a giant cannon mounted on the beach? I never thought about it, but apparently, back then during the Cold War, they had a bunch of cannons that could lob a shell 18 miles out into the Gulf, to defend the ports. Cool. But I didn't know that. So here I am, actively exploring this area and reading the history and all this stuff. And then I go back to this little tiki bar on the beach, and I'm sitting here drinking, and I'm just happy to tell all these people around me, like, hey man, there's a big cannon, 10 miles down the road, and telling the history behind it. Met some new friends, met cool people, and later on, I was thinking about it, I was kind of shocked because I'm normally the shy guy. I don't talk to people, but when I'm out by myself, I'm a little social butterfly. That experience, helped me make myself a bit more social because, I kind of learned a little bit about myself. And that happened because I traveled by myself. I put myself in, a position I didn't think I would. And you just got to try things like that. You got to go out by yourself. Go try restaurants by yourself. Go see movies by yourself. I ain't saying be antisocial, be by yourself, but if you ain't got a buddy that's going to join you, go do things by yourself. Like, I always hear the excuse of people, hey man, why don't you go to the gym? I got no one to go to the gym with. So you're letting your health, you're letting ownership of your life revolve around other people. You're letting someone else. You're basically saying, I'm going to have bad health. I'm going to look my worst because somebody else is not going to go to the gym with me. That's BS, man. Take ownership of your life and go to the gym. Stop, letting other people dictate how you live your life. You got to take control of that stuff and do your own thing. And it can be kind of scary at first. It really can. But, the funny thing, when you start going out by yourself, you realize people care more about what you think about them than what they think about you. Because everybody's a little narcissistic, right? And once you realize that, it's really not that scary to go out and do things on your own. It's really not that scary to try to achieve goals on your own. It's really not that scary to try to do things a little different, try to live your life. Because the fact of the matter is, no one really cares about you. All they care about is themselves. And they're more concerned about what you think about them. So if you're out here, doing your thing and trying to build a better life, they're going to be thinking, oh my God, does he think I'm less because I ain't doing something? It's weird, I know. Trust me. So the bottom line is, if you want a better life, it's going to require a little bit of sacrifice on your part. And that type of sacrifice is actually putting forth the effort to make yourself better. That type of sacrifice is sacrificing the comfort that you know now, that you're used to, making yourself a little uncomfortable and pushing yourself to be better. You do that, and I promise you, you may not achieve the goals you want, but your life will be better for it. And that's kind of what I want to preach. I want people to have a better life. I want people to be happier with their lives. It's kind of ironic that we live in, one of the most technological advanced times ever, and people are way more unhappy than they've ever been. And it requires effort on their part to be happy. It requires some sacrifice on their part to attain happiness. And it seems like a lot of people are just waiting for it to be delivered to them, and it doesn't work that way. Anyway, that's my little rant for today. Big guy out.